So today we're going to be going over adding and subtracting polynomials, which is 3.2 in our curriculum. So in the chat box in class, you will answer the question of, would you rather have a job that you hate and make a lot of money, or would you have a job that you love and have just enough money? Okay, sorry, my dog is in here with me today, so that is what you just heard. So here we go. Let's look at like terms. So when you're adding and subtracting polynomials, you're just going to go back to what you were doing in Algebra 1, where you're combining your like terms. So the ones with the same variable with the same exponent. So let's just go ahead and look at one of these examples down here. So an example of like terms would be this 4x squared right here and this 2x squared. So I'm going to be combining those. And I'm going to look at the symbol in between, and it's a plus. So I'm going to be adding these two. So I'm going to be doing the 4x squared plus the 2x squared. And then I'm going to go ahead and just find any other like terms we have. So for instance, I'm going to look at this plus 6x and see if there's another one, which there is, this negative 9x. And I'm going to go ahead and write these down here. So it's a plus 6x and then minus 9x. And then this plus 7 and plus 1 are like terms. So I have a plus 7 and then I have a plus 1. So now I have all my like terms together, and so now I'm just going to go ahead and simplify. So 4x squared plus 4x squared plus 2x squared. The 4 plus 2 would give us the 6, and then x squared stays x squared because we're just adding them. Exponents would change if we were multiplying or dividing. Then the next one here, we have a positive 6x minus 9x. So 6 minus 9 would give us a negative 3, and again, our variable just comes with it. And then lastly, we have this 7 and a 1. So 7 plus 1 is 8. And so our final answer is right here. So that's an addition problem for polynomials. Let's look at a negative one. So for negatives, I highly suggest that you do a step before combining like terms, which is just distributing this negative sign first. So just rewrite the entire problem with that negative distributed. So we have 7x to the third minus 5x plus 3. So I just copied this first set of parentheses down below. And then I'm going to copy this negative sign. I'm going to distribute the negative sign. So negative times the 7x would be a minus 7x. A negative times a negative 4x squared would become positive 4x squared. And then negative times a positive 9 would become negative 9. Now I have it all done, and I'm going to go ahead and go back to what we were just doing and looking for like terms. So I'm going to see if there's another x to the third anywhere, which there isn't. So I'm just going to go ahead and write that down below by itself, 7x to the third. And then I'm going to look at this 5x. And you could go, okay, I did the thirds, now let's do the squares, whatever you prefer. So I'm just going to go left to right. So I'm going to see if there's any like terms with my negative 5x, which there's this negative 7x. So I'm going to write those down now. Minus 5x minus 7x. And then I'm going to go ahead and look at this 3. And there's this 9. And those I'm going to put right here. Plus 3 minus 9. And then I'm going to look at this last one, which since it's the last one, there is no like terms with it. And I'm going to write it down here. So now I'm going to combine any of the ones I wrote together in the same color because they're my like terms. So the x to the third we said doesn't have any. So I'm just going to bring it down. 7x to the third. Minus 5x minus 7x is going to give me a negative 12x. And then positive 3 minus 9 would be negative 6. And then that last one, rewriting it just down below. Now, that is all the terms combined. However, we learned in 3.1 that we want it to be in standard form. So we need to write it down in standard form, which is when our exponents decrease, they descend. So this is the biggest exponent, the 3. But then this is the second biggest, so that needs to go next. So plus 4x squared, and then the minus 12x, and then the minus 6. And that is our final answer. Okay, if there's any questions, feel free to email me or ask in class when we're together. Let's look at some more examples though. So what I highly suggest right now is that you pause the video and you go ahead and give these at least C and D and E a try, and then check your answers with mine. So go ahead and pause the video and try those 3. All right, so hopefully you paused the video and tried them. So let's go ahead and look at like terms. So it's a plus sign in the middle, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start looking at my like terms. So I have a p to the 3, p to the 3. So I'm gonna write those down. 2p cubed plus 4p to the 3rd. Then I'm going to look at the next one. So I have a 10p and a minus 3p. So plus 10p minus 3p. And then next we have a minus 6p squared and a plus 11p squared. So minus 6p squared plus 11p squared. And that's all of them. So now I'm just going to go ahead and combine. So 2 plus 4 gives me a 6p to the 3rd. 10 minus 3 would give me a positive 7p. And then negative 6 plus 11 would give me a positive p squared. And then again, we need to write it in standard form. So we have 6p to the 3rd plus 5p squared plus 7p. Okay. And then the next one is like the other one where I mentioned to distribute that negative first. Otherwise, we often miss a minus sign because you need to do, okay, this is a like term and this is a like term. So you need to do v to the 3rd minus that. Or for instance, this 6v squared would be 6v squared minus a negative 7v squared. So it's just often you miss a negative sign this way. So it's easier or less complicated or less likely to miss a sign if you just distribute that first. So I have v to the 3rd plus 6v squared minus v, and then I distribute that negative, which I'm distributing a negative 1. So I'm flipping all the signs because I'm distributing by a negative 1. I'm timesing by a negative 1. So now, looking for our like terms, so we have v to the 3rd minus 9v to the 3rd. And then the next ones, here's a 6v squared. Here's another v squared. So that would be plus 6v squared plus 7v squared. And then next we have a minus v, and this one doesn't have a v, so it's just minus v. And lastly, we have this minus 3. So minus 3, and then combined terms. So negative 8v cubed plus 13v squared minus our v that had no like terms and minus our 3 that had no like terms. And this one is in standard form because we have 3, 2, 1, 0. So that is our final answer, and I forgot to box this one over here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just do this one really quick, and then you can check your answer. Okay, so here's E. Again, it wasn't in standard form the first way I did it, but then I rewrote it in standard form. And let's go ahead and take a look at the last one. So the last one, we do have a step that we need to do before combining like terms. And that is taking this 3 and distributing it. So I'm going to do that first. So 3 times the negative 3 would be negative 9x cubed. 3 times the 2x would give me 6x. And then 3 times the negative 4 would give us negative 12. And then the rest you just bring back down. So plus 4x cubed plus 3x squared plus 2. And now we go back to what we were doing just a minute ago. So combining like terms. So here's my x cubes. So I have negative 9x cubed and a positive 4x cubed. And then the next thing I see is a 6x, and there isn't any others, so I'm going to go ahead and write that down. Plus 6x, and then I have a minus 12 and a plus 2 there. So minus 12 plus 2, and the last one we have is a plus 3x, and again it's the only one left, so, or 3x squared, so we have no like terms with it. And now we're just going to combine. So negative 9 plus 4 would give us a negative 5x cubed. Our x only had the 1, so we have just plus 6x. Negative 12 plus 2 would be negative 10. And then we have the plus 3x squared. And then check if it's in standard form, which it's not because x squared is bigger than 6x. So we have negative 5x to the third plus our 3x squared plus our 6x minus our 10. And that would be our final answer. Okay, well that is it for 3.2 day 1 of adding and subtracting polynomials, and later we will look at multiplying. Thanks again.